Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Foil Drive episode. We've got Tom Earl with us, and he is the recent winner of the Saint Tropez Foil Drive division. There's been a little bit of a European leg of foiling, and I just kind of wanted to get a rundown because, as well as him just winning the Foil Drive division in Saint Tropez, he also just won the Kernow event in the UK. So,
Thanks
welcome,
a lot,
Tom.
Josh. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's early in the morning here and late at the night for you. But I just kind of wanted to get, well, for people that don't know Tom, which I'm sure is not many at all, but like the Tom is one of our team riders from Europe. He's from the UK, Cornwall, and he's definitely known for his prone foiling. But in the last couple of years, he's got into foil drive and he's utilizing the foil drive, I think, to get to, those spots that aren't crowded from surfers. And I think you even really well. You have got into downwind because you recently just won the downwind competition in Saint Tropez. But yeah, give us like a little quick rundown of yourself, and then it'd be kind of cool to jump straight into chronologically the Kernow event, and then into
Yeah,
Saint
cool.
Tropez.
Well, I guess the most relevant thing was kind of a lifelong surfer. I surfed from a really young age, and then in Newquay because it's quite a surf town, and we have really good, consistent conditions. Got into foiling, and like a lot of people, it's kind of took hold, and then realised how good home is for foiling, and yeah, it's been a pretty good little October for me, as you know.
I was blown away by. I visited you the middle of the year or just
Yeah,
before summer, I think, and I was blown away by how beautiful Newquay was, and then you were giving me the history of how it's like the most surf populated town in the whole of the UK, right? That's like kind of
yeah,
the mecca of
exactly.
surfing.
It's. I mean, I guess there is certain spots around the UK that have standout waves that might be better, but the thing about Newquay is it's consistently good. So there's lots of other spots, but they might only work like a few days of the year. Where I'd say, where I live, we've got waves of decent quality more days than not. So, and especially if you've got a foil, I mean, we're proning every day really. So, I mean, that's kind of been why I've not really learned many of the other disciplines. When you've got good prone conditions on your doorstep permanently, you're kind of always tired from doing that. And so I've been a bit slow on the uptake of all the other disciplines.
Yeah, I swear, like you've before the foil drive, you were kind of getting into your winging, but I come from a similar background where I surfed my whole life, and the wind sport thing is definitely foreign. And like when it was windy back when we surfed, you just had lay days. You didn't go in the water. But it's kind of crazy with like all these disciplines now that there's something to do when it's flat, when it's windy, when there's good waves, when there's glassy. It's just like your body doesn't really get a break, but you can't complain with
Well,
too
I
many
mean,
options, I
that's
think.
the crazy thing now, isn't it? We've gone from being a bit annoyed as a surfer, waiting for good days, and now there seems to be too many days to do whatever discipline to take a break. You start to got to be a little bit selective sometimes, haven't you? Otherwise, you end up foiling your nut off a little bit too much.
It was really cool though. The foil scene that I seen in your hometown, it's definitely growing. It was bigger than I expected, and it was cool that you got like a really nice camaraderie there, and meeting Chris from Poseidon, who puts on the Kernow Foil Classic. You can see that he's very passionate about growing the sport, and it's not really about making money. It's about building community and throwing a really cool event for everyone. And it's cool to see. I haven't been able to get there the last few years for it, but I've been watching it online, and it looks like the event's getting bigger and bigger, and it's drawing more people
Yeah, well,
globally.
you've touched on something there, like about how foiling's kind of growing everywhere, and especially where I live. I think the whole industry's been like every year is going to be like it's going to boom. Foiling's going to like grow exponentially. And it kind of has just slowly gone up. But I've really noticed over the last 6 months to a year, I think we might be a little bit on that trajectory now where it is maybe starting to explode, because I've certainly noticed back home there's a lot more foilers, and from all areas where I wasn't expecting that certain person to even be into foiling. And it's kind of, it is turning. I think we have kind of hit that maybe where the gas pedal's gone down, and people have suddenly seen the light a little bit more. And yeah, so the same thing, the comps kind of followed that trend. The first year was very core. The second year had more interest, and this third year, I think we had 170 people sign up for it. And like you said about Chris Burke, who runs Poseidon, he really did run that comp as a passion thing. It certainly wasn't something he did to make money. And while doing that, he literally just bought a house which he had completely gutted, and he was living in like a half tent caravan type setup in the back of it. And he was trying to get the comp going at the same time as 2 kids and doing all this building work himself. And the comp, he told me, was actually at one point looking like it was going to cost him quite a lot of money. But thankfully, last minute, he did manage to get a couple other sponsors on board to kind of balance the books. So yeah, so Chris was definitely in that, for the love of it. And thankfully, F1 and there was someone else that I should remember has come along and actually made it so, the comp financially was, wiping its own hands, feet, or whatever the saying has lost me there. But you get what I mean.
Totally. It's I really take my hat off to these individuals that put in a lot of time to create these events to grow the sport, and realistically, they're not making any money back. They're lucky if they're breaking even, and sometimes people, have to fork out money out of their own pocket to try and to grow it for the event, which is admirable. But so give us a rundown. It's a prone and winging event. Is that correct?
I think Chris, his passion really is in that surf style foiling. So the prone and the wing are the big part of it. He tried to do a power wing downwind race, which was pretty successful. We did that on the last day. That was always going to be part of the runnings. And there was a downwind, like a pure downwind kind of loose contest he was going to kind of do. But that one didn't quite come together due to conditions. But yeah, the focus was on the prone and the wing. Those other 2 bits, the downwind race and the power wing side, I think that will be something now. He's had a pretty good dry run of the power wing. I think that in the next one is going to become a pretty big part of it as well, because, as we know, that's a massive part of competitive foiling, isn't it, nowadays? And I really enjoyed that he brought the power wing in had an event where they kind of raced upwind to a set of boys, turned around the boys, stowed the power wing, and then it was like a downwind race back. I think that was really cool, but he tried to actually, get that happening. I was on the drone, filming that one, and it just looked really cool with the checkered flag at the end. And yeah, he's just on it, isn't he? He's just trying to make it happen and try all these new things out, and he's not afraid, to kind of put his neck on the line and give it all a go.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea, that upwind, downwind leg. I think, first of all, to watch downwinding is so hard because they're miles out to sea, and, you start at one point and you finish at another. But if you can start and finish at the same point, and you can visually watch it because the course is in eye shot, I think that's so much, and that's going to grow the sport because, we need spectators. You can't just rely on competitors watching other competitors because it's not really going to grow the sport. We need the people that are just walking the dog or just at the beach watching it and getting interested, and then they'll, hopefully take up foiling. But in saying that, Chris, he messaged me and he was sorry that he couldn't get the foil drive division in this comp because of insurance reasons. But he said he's already working on it for next year, and he's super inclusive and he's trying to build out all these different disciplines, which I think is cool because even though like a lot of foilers, they do like to do a lot of different disciplines, there are people who just wing, they just foil drive. And I think it's good to try and include everyone and,
Yeah,
and
for
mesh
sure,
them all
for sure.
together. But yeah, give us a rundown. What was the conditions like? Tell the people that weren't there exactly how the event went. Were the conditions good? How many people were in the prone
Yes,
event?
so we lucked out really. He changed the concept a bit this year, which was a wise move because we was holding it at what you'd consider quite a fickle spot and just having it as it was locked into that one location, but had a large waiting period of like a set number of weekends. That was the original format. So to get good conditions at this spot is tricky. And then you want it to fall on a neat tide as well. So the window you could run the event is big enough, like for the tide window, that you could get it done in the 2 days you decide to pull the trigger on. So that was problematic. So this year he changed it. So we had a choice. He managed to get permissions from the local councils to run it at like a number of different locations. So we had a spot for if it was going to be smaller and clean. We had a spot for if it was big and clean. And then we had a spot for if it was, an outright storm, like we had to come around a corner and peel up a river. So with that, I was kind of confident that we was going to get good conditions, just being able to go between those locations. And on the day, it turned out it was like a head high, really high quality, clean swell on the open beaches. So he moved it to a spot called Gwyvion, and he took a gamble because first thing in the morning, he was like checking it pretty much in the dark, trying to make a call because he needed to get things mobilized. And the conditions first thing was actually in between the two spots. It was slightly too big for the open beach called Gwyvion, and it was slightly too small for the semi-sheltered wave. And so he kind of thought, right, that's it. If we're going to do a comp, let's choose somewhere which is going to be more impressive waves and risk it being too big, rather than choose somewhere sheltered and it just be like people pumping around on big wings and like knee-high waves. And as it got lighter and everything was set up, it was like, yeah, well done, Chris. You've made the right call. It was just like perfect head-high clean waves, and it would have been good conditions for just a regular surf comp, to be honest. But the waves were peaking up nice and there were nice shoulders, so it was just like a froth fest for a foil. It was so good.
And who was competing? Because I seen from Instagram, I seen one of the Aussie boys, Luke, went over, which was super cool to see. And we were trying to get a few of our code competitors over there. We had Mike Chapman, the local boy, but he told me he had COVID on the day, poor guy. But it looked like you had some hot shots that went over there.
Well, I guess the main names, like you say, Luke Atkinson and then Guy Bridge. So when I'm looking at the draw, I'm looking at those two guys. So like, I'm thinking they're danger men. And then there's a load of people that they're like unknown entities. I know they're good, but I don't quite know how they're going to compete. So, but yeah, having Luke over was great. I mean, we all know how good Luke is. Duke Cactuson on Instagram, I think everyone knows.
He's such an incredible foiler. I love foiling with him.
Yeah.
A, his style, and B, how explosive he is. He's just a big boy. He just throws it around.
He knows how to use his like bigger frame. He puts it to good use, doesn't he? I mean, I saw him in Oz, and I was like, holy, he's got that chilled power carving foundation with perfect style, but then he's got the excitement, hasn't he, of like throwing the foil through the sections and all of the kind of new school moves. He's got like what I'd consider like a perfect blend and style. I mean, it's definitely someone that I've always liked the style of. And then when I saw him here, because I obviously haven't foiled with him since Australia, and there's only so much you can really get of someone in clips, isn't there? And then I saw him here firsthand in the comp, and I was like, oh yeah, Luke's stepped it up a little bit. He's got even better, from the last time I saw him.
So yeah, how many heats were there? How many did you have to get through?
Let's try and remember. So it was a round one, round two for elimination, round three. I don't think there was a round four. There may or may not have been a round four. Quarter semi, final. So maybe was it 4 or 5 heats to get through to get to the final?
And four
Yeah,
four people
four-man
in each
heats,
heat.
and then we had this interesting one, which we had a elite and amateur division, and the guy who won the amateur division got a buy through to compete as a fifth competitor in the final of the elite. So Chris just kind of thrown that little one in there, which
Cool.
was slightly controversial because someone said what happens if all the elites had a shocker and the guy from the amateur just got like an easy route through to be in the final. But but then at the same time, he's had to make it through a lot of heats, so he kind of deserves it as well. So yeah, that was kind of cool.
So that I really like that how you're kind of dividing the pro riders to the amateur riders, and then was there also a women's
Well, there
division?
was intended to be a women's division, but when it come down to it on the day for prone, it was only Mike's girlfriend Rachel who was probably going to be the only person to do it. So the women's division, the prone did go ahead, but winging it
And
did.
what? And
She
Emma
wings.
doesn't?
I don't think she felt like she wanted to
Yeah.
compete at prone.
Okay.
So I don't know how. I mean, she might prone well. I don't know if I've. She seems to always surf with Guy when I've had sessions with them. Emma's surfing while Guy's foiling in prone days. So yeah. So Emma did the winging. Yeah.
It will happen. Yeah, cool. So, come on, give me more. I want to know. So who was in the final? Give me more. You're not giving me much
So
here. Come on, who was in the final? Did you did you smash it, or did you just get through, or like
um
was it super close?
so I thought I was happy with my foiling for sure. I mean when this whole foiling thing when competitions in foiling come along, I was like, oh no, not contests again. Like, I had to endure this surfing. I thought like at least we're going to be, foiling's just free and it's just fun, and now we got to do contests in foiling. But like, it's turned out to contests are good for progressing a sport, aren't they? So, I mean, they've kind of grown to like them actually. So I think I foiled pretty good through all the heats. I mean, I had some standout heats. I think where there was like some clear, there was quite a bit of separation, I guess, in the wins. And yeah, if you can see the heat scores online, I mean, yeah, I guess I foiled well. I mean, I definitely foiled competitively. I tried to uh, do a good foundation of foiling where you're putting in the calves in the bigger sections and not risking kind of going up through the lip in the hectic bits. But I always try to like at least halfway through or the end of the wave do like a few smashes in the sections, and through the lip kind of stuff, because the people I was up against, I thought, well, if I'm not gonna do it, they're probably gonna take me out. So I guess I thought clever. I didn't take any risks, and I made sure the wave selection was really good. I didn't because we had the format. So I guess a good point on the format. I like this format. It's when you take off on a wave, your scoring starts. So you can ride the wave you've initially taken off on, surf it for as long as you want, or if it's rubbish, you can just pull off it and use it as positioning to pump out. But you're only allowed one connection. So once you've connected onto that second wave, then you surf that wave through, and you get scored for that whole run. So that makes it. I like that because to me that makes it feel like more of like a surf foil comp because it limits how much you can pump around. So you're going to think, well, there's no point in riding a big foil. I've only got to make one connection. So to me, that encourages you to do more exciting foil, and you don't care about. Yeah, you want to push it there
Push
because I
it.
think that's why the format in World Tour Surfing is how it is because they want to encourage the most exciting surfing. So um, I like that format. I really dig that format. So I guess I did. I surprised myself actually because I didn't think I was really had that kind of competitive foiling in me where I kind of kept a clear head and made right decisions. But I'm quite happy I did, and I didn't bother getting up on foil unless I looked out and I could see it was like the first few waves of like a big set. So by the time I pumped out, I was like in like the best position to really make the most of it. I think that kind of got me past Duke. Unfortunately, we had like a bit of a one-sided semi-final, which pretty much felt like a final where it was me, Duke, and Guy Bridge, and someone else in the heat. So I had to get past Duke and Guy Bridge. So I won that in the semi-final. I think my wave selection definitely helped me along the way there. And then the final, I was against the Duke again. And yeah, I think I just surfed the clever heat, whereas the Duke, he did some absolutely mental aerial snap style, full fin release out the back, but he didn't do it on the better waves, and he didn't manage to combo it up with other turns, or at least not enough other turns. But the final was close still. But I definitely had quite a few waves where I did a lot of outside work on bigger sections, and then still managed to like clean the wave up on the end with a few like, more exciting maneuvers. So yeah, it was a dream day really, because it all come together, and yeah, quite happy with that.
Epic. And I need to know, what foil were you riding?
I've literally just rode the 750 skate permanently for like, I don't know, ever since I got the V2 750 skate. So that was, that's probably getting on a year now. I've just stayed on that one foil, and I really like the 650 for a bit, but I do find if you get used to pushing around a little bit more surface area, I think it's better for your foiling. And the 750 still has enough pump range as well. So I've kind of just landed on that, and I don't like messing around with my foils too much, and especially not because I knew there was a comp coming up. I just thought, well, let's just ride the 750 and let's ride it no matter what the conditions are. So you feel really, really kind of dialed in and secure. And I think it has done me a lot of favors lately, because I'm feeling like really confident in my foiling. It feels, to be honest, it feels like I'm back on a surfboard. I don't really feel like I'm, having like any sketchy feelings of foiling, like even going in, more surfier areas of the wave. So I think there's probably quite a bit to be said to just sticking with one wing.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I think that's super smart as well. How you just like, you know exactly what that foil does, and yeah, like it has enough pump to get you around, which is in the comp you only need to connect another wave. So it's clever. So tell us a little bit about the voyage. So after you took out that event, which congratulations, I think that's your second year winning that event.
Then Jack Ho come over for the second year.
Yep.
I mean, I don't want to make excuses. Jack foiled well. Guy Bridge also comes second. Guy Bridge comes second, I come third. The final was the tide. We had huge tides. The tide come up at this spot and it just kind of stopped breaking. And I also definitely handicapped myself because I rode like a little 3-7 board with like a wave that was barely breaking. So, but I'm not taking that away from Jack. I mean, I'm here with Jack now in Crozon. So maybe we'll get some redemption against Jack here at Crozon now, or maybe Jack will get me a second time and I'll, just have to eat humble pie. We'll see.
And you then voyaged from, your home in the UK, home in UK you went to Saint Tropez, which is
I
France.
guess this is where Foil Drive comes in, because Dom Hopkins said to me, "Hey, do you want to come to Saint Tropez? We're gonna be at the downwind event." And obviously I was like, yeah, you can count me in for that. And so I thought I'd come down here for this event. And then we've had Crozon down here as well. And I thought, well, while I'm over here, I might as well come and do the Crozon surf foil event. But I mean, back to Saint Tropez, that was such a nice place to stay at. And for Foil Drive to support the event and run like a Foil Drive downwind division as well, that was pretty special to experience that whole downwind competition style, which I've not really had any awareness or involvement within at all. That whole build up, like loading on the boats with all of the competitors and the all the talk and banter and all of that while you're like heading out before you get like dumped in the middle of nowhere and like raced back altogether. I mean, I can see why you do it, Josh. It's like it's it's a really cool, exciting thing, and I absolutely, I really, really enjoyed that whole experience.
I think that's quite a unique one because that doesn't usually happen where. So I think the wind direction there, they just drive a boat. How many kilometers upwind? How long's the
Well,
race?
the main one I think was 40, something stupid. Like a, and
Oh
yeah,
wow.
I've heard. Well, I didn't hear. I could feel there was barely any wind. So I think it was a bit of a pump fest, and yeah, I think the guys come back a little bit knackered after that one. I think they pretty much pumped for 40 kilometers, though. I mean, I'm glad I wasn't involved in that one.
So the four drive division for the Saint Tropez, how long was that
I should
then?
have all these facts for you, Josh. I really apologize. It was less. I don't know if it was 5 or 10 kilometers. It was because it was designed. Amateurs and elite were all dumped in together. So I think it was tried to make it, you know, relatively attainable for
Yep.
everyone. And yeah, it turned out the bumps for the foil
Yep.
drive one were better than the bumps for the main downwind event. We kind of lucked out there. So we could, so we kind of
Oh, cool.
started in the mouth
Lucky.
of Saint Tropez, and we rode up the kind of inlet, I guess, and kind of finished up just outside the Saint Tropez harbour. And as we kind of got halfway up, like, we had that kind of like wind against tide kind of feel to it. I know the tides are small out there. They must have had some impact because there were suddenly way better bumps than everywhere else. It kind of like, over kind of shoal up and it kind of bunches up and there were steep sections. So yeah, that one actually, apart from like initially using the motor to get on foil and then a tiny bit at the end where the bumps died away to like nothing. Um, yeah, we were like cruising, like enjoyable downwinding actually. So yeah, that one worked out pretty damn fun.
And you said there was a pro and like amateur kind of
Yeah.
lineup. Was there people kind of like was it actually foil drive or was it foil assist? Like was there people on other foil assist brands or was it just everyone on foil
So
drive?
it was all foil drives, and there were people who come along and had their own foil drives. And I mean, there was so much going. I was there for 5 or 6 days. There was so much going on. I mean, you just keep reminding me of more and more. It was like one of the most funnest weeks I've pretty much ever had, I think. And so, I mean, another one of the highlights. So Dom was handing out all brand new foil drive um, setups to like all of the best downwind foilers in the world, and we were all helping all the foil drive team who were there. We were all helping them set up all of their setups, getting ready, for the race. And so, I mean, just that alone was like just a great laugh. Kai Thompson and the Duke, and I mean, there was loads of them there.
You you beat those you beat those boys.
I had no idea. Everyone was going, "Oh, they're going to leave you in the dust," and I was like, "Yeah, I'm sure they're going to like leave me like in their shadows, and I'm just going to be, just slogging behind them." But we was all started on the line, all pretty closely packed, and we all zipped up onto foil, and I kind of saw the Duke and Kyle far to my right, and then I kind of was just focused on what we was doing, and then suddenly I realised, hang on a minute, it's just me, Ryan, and God, I can't remember his name now, a lad from Guadeloupe. He's like a really nice guy on the Armstrong team. And I suddenly realised it's just the three of us, like, and I'm looking around going, hang on, is Kai like finished already? Like maybe he's already done, and we're just like, but but I couldn't kind of like work out what's going on there. And then so I had two in front of me. I had the lad from Guadeloupe and Ryan Arzi, who was just like blazing it ahead. And like I was kind of cruising, just enjoying it, and I was like, hang on, like, why don't I try and like catch up to them? And so I just started like just trying to pump and overtake the bumps. And so I passed the lad from Guadeloupe, and then ended up like me and Ryan Arzi was then like side by side. And so me and Ryan were just like having a conversation, just like saying, actually, this is way better conditions than we expected. And so me and Ryan were just having a nice little laugh basically through the midsection where the bumps all stood up. And then it turned into like a pump fest at the end. And me and him just like flogged it. We weren't quite exactly sure where the finish line was. So we saw a boat with like coloured buoys on it. It was, oh, there it is. There's the finish line. So me and him like tried to like pump race each other to that. And we both like kind of like neck and neck past the boat. And then we looked and was like, damn, that's not even the boat. So then we was like, where is the boat? Where is the boat? And was like, oh no, it's there. And we'd already like way past it. We'd already like way overgone the boat. So then we dropped down and just like motored back to it. Thankfully, like the guys kind of like realized, it's like a line that goes straight across. So we obviously flew through it. Yeah, so and then we realized that, Kai and Duke, I mean, I think the Duke had maybe some issues getting a clean start because he's like a big unit. And I think he used his really small gear. So maybe the Duke had a bit of an issue getting start. And the race wasn't that long. So I think it gave them a hard task to catch up in that short space of time. But yeah, Ryan Ozzy's definitely good at his downwind. I mean, I saw he's been ranking quite well in some of the downwind races. So, I mean, it was nice to keep pace with him and just realize, I mean, he had the KT foil on. I'm not sure which model it was, but it was just cool noticing, like when Ryan stood there and glided, he had like a better average speed than me. I was on the 800 Eagle X F1. So his average speed looked better than mine because he was kind of leaving me a bit when we were both standing there. But when I put in pumps, it looked like the top end speed of my Eagle X would outrun the KT. So it's kind of cool, just kind of like feeling all those things. And, I guess like it made me actually want to, this is the great thing about foil drive, because it's taught me to read bumps maybe a little bit better than I thought I could read bumps, I guess. And now I think, well, actually, kind of cool to learn how to downwind sup. I mean, but I'm sure I'm not exactly young though, so that kind of makes me think, well, my heart probably hasn't got the max heart rate that's required to beat those top guys on like the average days. But still, foil drive's taught me downwind, and kind of just got to learn that initial piece of the puzzle of getting a sup onto foil now, I guess. But I know that's quite a journey, as a lot of people tell me, but kind of makes me think I might want to give it a go.
Yeah, cool. Sounds like you've fully got the bug. And dude, congrats. That's like a really stacked lineup that you beat. Like Ryan's probably one of the best foil drivers in the world, and then you've got Kai, who's the fastest guy in the world on a sup, and you beat him, and like that's super impressive for your first downwind race ever, and you blitzed them all. So congratulations. That's a huge feat. And do you know if in the next event, the Crozon, that they're doing a foil drive division?
I hear not. I think I don't know. I don't quite know the details.
Okay.
I think we're gonna have some presence down there, but I don't know the details as to why. But I know of. There certainly isn't one I've signed up for competing in. It doesn't look like there's an option to. So yeah. So maybe next year they'll get a foil drive event, the same as the kind of Foil Classic will get a foil drive event. But we'll be down there. I'm probably gonna put on the foil drive hat and on some of the days, and be down there man in the tent with Mark Shin for a bit though.
Yeah, that's cool. Like for having 30 people in Fred Beneff's event, right?
Yeah.
He organises it all through the
out of the Saint Tropez Foil Drive.
Super impressive. I know that Dom told me that he's got Fred working with foil drive now, which is like really cool, because Fred, I think, is doing like Chris Burke, amazing things for the sport, just trying to grow the sport, trying to create these great events. And I've only heard amazing things from Saint Tropez, and I really hope that I can get there next time, because it just looks so fun. I think the way you said it was, is it like a 5-day event, and there's like literally things on every day? Like there's a dock starting, there's flat water paddling, there's the actual sup race, and then there's the foil drive race, and then is there a prone event or
No,
no?
so the vibe of the place is insane. I mean, just the location, it's stunning, and then the yacht club and the restaurant and the food and all the benches, and there's people chilling everywhere, and there's just there's everyone of in foiling like all there, and yeah, it was such a good 5 days there, and yeah, there was something every day really. I'm trying to think. The first thing that went on was it a pump foil race? So they kind of dock started off like a floating jetty, those cube things, and then pumped around like some buoys, around another few buoys, and then pumped back towards like the boat ramp. So it was really good for spectators. And then there was flat water starting sup and then pump racing those. Yeah, and then you obviously got the downwinds and the foil drive. There was something going on the whole time really, and all the brands down there, and yeah, it was just a really cool one. And the weather there was, the weather makes a pretty big difference. Just being able to like chill in, I think it's sunny there all the time and nice weather. So just the
Mm.
climate and being able to chill out in the sun, it's like the perfect temperature to just sit out in the sun all day and have some drinks, and yeah, it was just a really good time. I mean, I can't wait to go back there next year.
Awesome. Um, but yeah, like what have you been? Are you tell us a little bit more about Four Drive? Are you working for Four Drive? I know you're an ambassador for Four Drive. Are you just helping out Dom with these event
Yeah,
style
I
things?
mean, I can't say enough. Sorry, my earbuds just coming out there. I can't say enough good things about Dom Hopkins, Foil Drive Europe. I mean, he's just gave me loads of opportunities. He's employing me to attend loads of different events. So it started off just around the UK, and then there's this one in Saint Tropez, and then I think there's going to be a few more. So there's that side of it where I'm attending the events, helping out with demos, giving tuition on the water, advice, that kind of thing. And then there's I guess, signing on this next year as like an official, team rider, professional team rider for Foil Drive. And yeah, I just love Dom. He's just such a good guy, and spending all the time with him at the events. And he's just so good at what he does, isn't he? He's just understands the product in and out. He's the most honest, hardworking person. He's just, can't thank him enough really for bringing me on board and, giving me these opportunities and giving me all these fun things to do.
He's very passionate. He's a very cool guy, and I think he's really built out Foil Drive Europe with a really strong team. Like, had Julia Castro come over to America for the AWSI, and just individuals like that are so important in a brand. It builds that culture where it's really inclusive and inviting and just fun. It's just a good crew that you want to hang out with. And I could see that through the Four Drive Europe Instagram account, that it just looks like everyone's just genuinely having a really good time, and you can see that infectious feeling is spreading, and you're seeing all the top people in each discipline wanting to get involved in Four Drive now, and just really see it as a fun product. It's just it's just getting people out when maybe there's not wind or there's no waves, and you can still have fun and ride with your
Yeah.
buddies, which
Well,
is
that's
really
the way it
cool.
should be, really, isn't it? I mean, the people working in the company should, number one criteria really is they should absolutely love using the product themselves, and it should be, the most fun thing. So, I mean, that's really coming across, I think, in the team that Dom's put together. I mean, just look at Dom himself. He's like the biggest frother at using a foil drive and foiling around with that of anyone I know. I mean that alone, and yeah, I think there are a lot of people realizing. I mean, I joked with some of the guys who were like, the best downwinders when I was like helping them with all the setups. I mean, they were like, joking about the foil drive, and because to them it is almost like a little bit. I'm trying to think of the word. I mean, it's an assist to help when some people of that ability don't actually need the assist to do the disciplines they want to do. But even they recognize that, hey, I want one of these for home for, for that day when it's like that, or to get out to that spot that's really far out to sea. So anyone who even digs in to the product and takes the mick of it a bit, even they actually really want the product, like you say, it's cool to see those people like realizing that, they actually want it.
Yeah, it's really funny. Like, you've got those people that are
Yeah.
so core that are, oh, they see it as like a cheat, or like, it's not core enough for them because they want to use their own physicality to get on foil or whatever. But then, they might have a go of the friends or something, and then you can see their brain switch, and they're like, oh, this is pretty
Yeah.
sick. like it's just a perfect example is Marcus Tarju from Code Foils. He would say, like, he's not a hater on the foil drive, but he was always just like, I think he gets pissed off because a lot of people in his local area are like, buzzing around and getting a million waves, and he's sitting there just all grumpy,
Yeah.
just not getting any. And then he recently just had surgery, and he asked me, he was like, can I get a foil drive? Like, I want to use it to get back on foil. And I got him one, and he was like, dude, this thing's fucking sick. And I was like, it's just that thing, because like, maybe if you don't have one yet, it's like, because it's not a cheap product. Like, you got to invest in it to get one, which I totally understand. Like, it's a financial issue there, but like, I think that's where it's important with all these demos to let people try before they buy, and then like, it really shows that it's a worthwhile investment. And I think for people, you nailed it there, where you said for people like, and that is our biggest customer, for people that their abilities maybe aren't there, like the 20-year-olds these days. They can't paddle with a paddle anymore. They can't paddle like a normal surfboard anymore. So having that assist is keeping them young, because they can now get back in the water and get a lot of waves that they wouldn't have normally have gotten. And maybe they would have resorted to not getting in the water at all. So I think it's super helpful and healthy. So I think I'm a big preacher of that, where I reckon you see all those haters that it's just like, I always resort it back to, it's like tears. And like, I always resort it back to, it's like when we first started foiling and foil drive wasn't around, the surfers were hating on us because we were getting more waves. And then now the foilers are hating on the foil drivers because they're getting more waves. But then everyone converts into each other, and then they kind of see the light. It's just, you always have those closed-minded people that you need a little bit more attention to help show them, it's okay. You just like, you have to try it before you bag it. And then,
well, what I'm liking, I'm seeing, because there was a little bit of fear, with assist products coming along. I mean, everyone kind of says foil drive, and that's due to the success of foil drive, isn't it? Anyone thinks of an assist product, you say foil drive. So there was a worry that there was going to be, it was going to cause so many problems for foiling, having people, you've suddenly gave pretty much a monkey a gun, haven't you, in some cases, and to allow them to be idiots and cause more of an impact on the foil. But I've really noticed how now the dust is settled and things have progressed, people are using them more respectfully. I think there's now we've kind of got over this hump of there only being a few about, and there's actually quite a few about in the wild. It is kind of self-policing itself, and people are kind of seeing the vast majority of people using foil drives using them in a particular way, because there is enough out there. And you guys have done a great job of promoting about, use your foil drive to go to places that you couldn't use without a foil drive, also known as like not in a busy lineup. And I think it's really helped. I think it's found its place in like the foiling world. It's not causing problems. And what's also nice is now people are getting more educated on foiling because it's around a bit, and it's recognised that foil drive, that foiling isn't just foiling. It's people know that that's an assist one now with a motor. That's easier to do, and that's a prone one that doesn't have a motor. That's harder to do, and each one's getting its own little respect. People are recognising the differences in foiling. It's not all just being tarred with the same brush, I guess. And, it's just nice to see how foil drive has really kind of like slotted in and kind of like found its place, and it's being more understood. And I guess this is where we hoped it would always get. We were just worried that along the way, before it's fully understood, someone along the line somewhere was going to throw their toys out the pram and kind of really try and, you know, clamp down on and regulate, or at least try to, and make things not very good for like the wider foiling world.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the community is doing a really, really good job with calling out people that are selfishly using a foil drive and, not respecting other people out there. And I think also the ambassadors are doing a really good job with showing just good etiquette. Like, I think I watched a Paul Cooper video the other day, and he didn't even say anything, but he finished a downwind at his local spot, and where they finish is a very busy swimming spot. It's like a little channel that a lot of
Yeah.
people go in and out of, and he could easily pump literally to the shore and jump off and
Yeah.
have dry hair, but he came down at the mouth of there, and then he mowed it in on his chest. And it's just really good seeing the top guys doing good stuff like that, because it really shows to the other people that are coming into the sport, what the right and maybe the wrong thing to do is. So I think, yeah, we've got something good going on here. And like what you said, when something's new, people are scared because they don't know about it. But I think as our brand is growing and we're putting out a lot of this educational material, and we've got good ambassadors located throughout the world, I think it's slowly, organically proving to the wider community that this is a great toy that creates a good, healthy lifestyle for a lot of people. And I think it's
Yeah, I think
it's
it is.
awesome.
It to me, it seems like it is turning into like a force for good. And foil drive having the overwhelming market share, I think, is a great thing as well, because it's run by responsible people. I mean, thank God foil drive has grown so big so quickly, and as a company, has pretty much owned the whole space, because at least now you can put out the good kind of methods of how to use it. It could have been a right mess if there had been like loads of companies coming in, all competing against each other, and you're all trying to make a living. I mean, then trying to spread the message of how to use the product and trying to tell people don't use it this way and use it, that would have just turned into a little bit more of a tougher task, I think. I mean, thankfully, Paul kind of got there first, and got the company to a stage where you really could, because it was going to happen eventually, wasn't it? The concept of putting a motor on a foil and making it accessible for the masses was going to happen eventually. So if it wasn't Foil Drive who did it, it was going to be someone else. So I'm just kind of thankful Foil Drive got there, and we've managed to come in and make it something that can be used in a way that's not harmful to the wider kind of water users and population around the world.
Totally. So tell me, I know you're a fellow team rider at Amos, and you ride for F1 foils. Tell us, when you set up your foil drive, what's your go-to? Like, I know it's very condition dependent, but like, what are you mostly using your
So
foil
I
drive
mainly
for?
use full honesty, I mainly use my foil drive when it's not good for prone. So that could be when there's no waves to chip up on, or very limited chip-ins, so it just doesn't make sense. Or when it's like motoring out to sea and riding lumps and downwinders, and even motoring around on flat days and just enjoying the coast. So for me, then I kind of lean towards the Eagle X's for that. So the 800 Eagle X for me is perfect for everything. And higher aspects, it has the efficiency, so you don't go chewing through your batteries too quick. And it still feels like it's quite exciting and fast when you're just motoring around. It's got loads of pump. It's got the glide for like riding lumps that don't break. And in terms of boards, I don't really mind too much with what board I put on top. I think the foil. I like a longer mast with the foil drive as well, because I find the motor pod, you're already losing 10, 12 or whatever centimeters you got your pod set at. So I like the 85 mast, so you got as much usable mast left as possible. And yeah, board wise, I don't really mind too much, especially about a new high power motor. I mean, it doesn't really, you can get any size board really going with that, can't you? So yeah, I don't really, I mean, of course, I don't mind your cruiser, Josh. Not that you need any more publicity on pushing the cruiser. I mean, you've completely drowned.
I'm not trying to cherry pick that out of you.
I mean, let's give Amos a bit of a break
Yeah.
here and not mention the cruiser, because you've completely overwhelmed his production capabilities. I mean, no one else can get any damn boards put through the factory. I mean, there's massive backlogs and anything else. So we won't mention the cruiser, mate.
But that's perfect. That's a perfect segue, and I don't know if you've got yours yet, but F1 and Foil Drive have done a cool collaboration where they've made an aluminium mast, and that is available now to the public. And they've got that in, I think, 15, 20, 25, and E-foil position. So if you haven't already got that, Tom, I would highly recommend like those integrated masts with the high power motor. The thing's just getting closer and closer to not foiling with a motor under you anymore. Like you can barely feel it.
Well, I had a go on one of them. I did have a go on one. I can feel it. Yeah. I mean, I completely agree. I mean, you're getting rid of that. You do get a bit of, I guess, drag off having that cable off the trailing edge, don't you? And sometimes as well, if you have the motor mounted really high, you do get that air kind of get pulled down the cable sometimes onto the prop. You know, you can deal with it, can't you? But the integrates obviously, yeah, better, and the touchdowns not so impactful, are they? So yeah, I fully get it. I'll need to get one for myself. Really, I've only just had a kind of blast on like demo ones.
Cool. Well, we're coming up to an hour, but I know it's late at night there, and I don't want to take too much of your time. But do you want to say anything else before we leave?
I'm not sure. You can. I mean, I'm chilling here. I mean, I'm not sleepy. It's up to you, Josh.
But yeah, I think we'll leave it at that. I want to wish you all the best in the Crozon event. Are you doing you're just doing the prone, or are you going to enter any
Yeah,
other
I'll just be doing the
divisions?
prone. I mean, I believe there's a downwind category, isn't there, and probably like a pump foil. I mean, I don't know if there's a dock start one. I haven't really paid too much attention. I kind of just focus on prone, really. So in the field here looks stacked. I mean, it's going to be a tough job, this one. I mean, hopefully I can make it to the podium again. I obviously intend to. But there's a lot of. We haven't just got like 2 or 3 big names here. It looks like there's like 30 big names. So yeah, it's going to be exciting, and the conditions are looking fairly good, I think. I mean, today we tried to go out and have a prone today. This is where the sticking the 750 skate on every day philosophy doesn't always pan out, because it was literally about 6 inches, so couldn't quite get the skate going today. So I literally just washed off the travel out of me, and then just got out of the water after 5 minutes. So the only guys up and going were on like massive foils. But the conditions tomorrow, it looks like there's quite a nice high period swell filling in through the day tomorrow. I believe they're going to try and get the downwind done tomorrow because there's a bit of wind. And then the following 2 days look like we're going to get the prone done. And the spot looks sick. I mean, I've never been this part of the world before, like up here in like northern France, and there's like right out front of the comp zone, there's 2 peaks and like a really deep kind of like defined channel. So it's kind of like a shifty beach break, but with like a fixed kind of like rip channel in between them. So yeah, it looks like a sick little foil spot here, and it's very natural and not very built up. So yeah, should be a good event.
Lovely. Well, I wish you all the best, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks a lot,
Thanks,
Josh.
Tom.
And I'm sure we'll speak soon.
Yeah.
See you later. Cheers, mate.
See you, mate.